GoodNotes versus Notability. The seemingly never-ending debate on which note-taking app is better for the iPad. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this little corner of the internet. I really hope that you're doing well. If you're new here, welcome. I am so happy and so glad that you stumbled up on in here, and I really hope that you're going to decide to stay. So today's video is all about a comparison video between GoodNotes and Notability, because if you've seen my multiple vlogs, you probably know that I use the iPad. I have the iPad 12.9-inch 2020 version, I think. I use the iPad on the daily, on the reg, as they say. I have both GoodNotes and Notability on my iPad, and I just thought that it would be a really good idea to do a very in-depth comparison between GoodNotes and Notability, so you guys, if you have an iPad, you can make an informed decision on which app will suit your needs best. So this video is going to be, I'm expecting it to be quite long. All of the timestamps will be down below, so if you just have one specific question, please just jump to that one. It'll just make your life easier. Don't want to be wasting your time if you don't want to be looking at every single feature that it has. The way this video is going to be structured is I'm going to be answering a lot of different questions, comparing the two in each of the questions, and then at the end doing my personal opinion of which one is better. And at the end of the video, I'll talk you through how I use these apps, if I use both of them, if I only use one, and all of that fun stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by talking about the price, and we'll talk about Notability first. So Notability has just recently changed the way they do the pricings. So it used to be a one-off fee, like GoodNotes, that we'll talk about later, but now Notability has just changed the way they do prices, and the app is now free to start off with, and with that you have limited note edits, basic paper templates, and your 3 favorite tools with that. And then if you want to have access to more of their tools, you didn't need to subscribe to it. So it becomes a subscription-based app that you have to pay $14.99 for a year, and right now they have a 20% off discount. So with that, you basically, with the subscription, you basically have access to everything, which that includes like the handwriting recognition, auto backup, math conversions, and all of that. Just a little parenthesis right now, I'm looking at my own Notability, which I paid as a one-off fee like a year ago or something, and I'm looking at like Notability Plus here, and basically now every single thing that you were supposed to like pay extra before, when it was only a one-off fee, now it becomes like there's a subscribe button, and if you click on the subscribe button, it tells you that my plan right now is the classic plan, but since I paid Notability before the update, everything that I had before the update I still have. They're not taking away anything from me. But anything else that I want, if I want the handwriting recognition, math conversion, all of that, I would have to subscribe to the premium version. So if you do have Notability before the update, so before Notability 11.0 update, you won't be really affected by the subscription thing unless you want to have access to those more fancy like themes, planners, stickers, or like handwriting recognition, and all of these things. Moving on to GoodNotes. GoodNotes is a one-off fee app still, and GoodNotes costs $7.99 or the equivalent of £6. And GoodNotes comes with handwriting recognition, all of the more intricate things that Notability has, like the, premium paper templates, auto backup, handwriting recognition, all of that comes with the fee. Once you've paid for GoodNotes, you have everything on the app. You don't have to pay for anything extra. So in that matter, I do definitely think that GoodNotes is better than Notability for the pricing, because you just have to pay once. You don't have to continue paying every single year. It's just less of a faff, really. So I would recommend GoodNotes for the pricing. The next thing we're going to be looking at is how are the notes organized in this app. So we're going to start with Notability again. So in Notability, the notes are organized, as you can see on the side here. And you have all the notes, no recent notes, unfiled notes, and all of the other folders you can create. And when you create notes, you can either create a subject, which is going to give you, like, for example, med resources is a subject, and here I have most of like PDFs. And then you can also create dividers. So year 1 would have stuff in it, and then semester 1 would have other things in it. Before this new update, you weren't able to put a divider within a divider, so you were only able to have one drop-down thing. You couldn't have like within year 1, semester 1, and semester 2. But recently they've just updated it, and so now you can. So you just do that, drag it within it, and so you have semester 1, and you can also drag semester 1 within year 1, and then you have both of these things within year 1 divider. So that is, in my opinion, a really good way of doing notes. They really separate the note area from the place you have the notes, So let's say if I would click on search and news, that would then change the notes that I see on the right hand side. Now if I go to GoodNotes, GoodNotes organizes their notes more like a computer with like folders that can have folders within a folder, and so you only can see a note once you click on the actual note. So let's say I go on this folder here, which is my university folder. You can see that it's subdivided in other sections, and then I would have to click on year 1, and then I would have to maybe click on semester 1, and then, you know, go to maybe, I don't know, PBL, case 1, semester 1, and then finally click on case 1, notes final, to then see my notes. So in that aspect, I do think that Notability is probably a better way of organizing your notes because it's a bit more organized. It feels more like a filing system rather than a computer. To get to, like, let's say these notes, which were on my first case ever for my PBL cases, it just seems a bit like a long process. I have to click on many folders before getting there. Obviously, I can use the search function to then find my things. It just takes a bit more time, and so in that aspect, I will give it to Notability. So we're going to move on to the next section, which is how does it feel like to actually write on these apps with the Apple Pen, because I do think that it's quite different experience. So we're just going to create a first just random note on Notability. So let me just write, hello, I am a med student. I feel like, obviously I've written with both of these quite a lot. I feel that this writing on Notability, it's much like a bit smoother. It feels very crisp, but sometimes a bit too crisp, as if like the pen is moving before I even have fully finished my movement, if that makes sense. So it's sometimes a bit too smooth for me in that aspect. Whereas in GoodNotes, let's go in GoodNotes. You're right, I get that, hello, my name is, oh. And then, you know, continue doing that. It feels here like as if I'm fully in control. Obviously, this is very biased because I'm just going to say now I prefer GoodNotes to write my notes. So it's a bit biased in that aspect. And I'm also more used to writing on GoodNotes. But it just feels more crisp, as if I'm more in control when I write on GoodNotes than I am on Notability. So in that aspect, I will say that GoodNotes wins on here, but Notability is still really good. Like, I'm not going to lie, it still is really nice. You can still write well, which kind of leads me on to the second point here, which is how does the pen actually work? What are the pen features? So in Notability, if you re-click on the pen tool, you have like different thicknesses. So the first thickness will be like this. The second will be like this. If we move on maybe to this one, it's much thicker. So you don't have much control over it. It's just very much like it increments on its own. And then you have two choices of like pen, like four choices, sorry, of pen choices. So you either have like a ballpoint sort of thing, where if I write, oops, this is way too big, hello. Where if I write like hello here, oops, it like, how hard or how light I do it, it's not going to change. Like, I'm pressing really hard right now and I'm pressing very lightly. The thickness doesn't change. Or you can choose this one more like a fountain pen thing, where if I press hard, if I press hard, it's going to be like quite thick. And if I press like less hard, it's less thick. So you have two choices, and then you have like those dotted situations, which is a bit of a, it's a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, that's what you have. And then for choice color options, you have these ones, and then you can add your own, which is I think that's a new thing. You didn't have, Notability has changed a lot, but you can also like add your own. So if I wanted to add like this shade of green, I could do that, and that would be a new shade of green here. In GoodNotes, the pen here, if you click on the pen, you have three different styles. So you have fountain pen, which is again like if I press hard, that's hard. If I press less hard, it's like thinner. Or you have a ball pen, which is if I press hard here and hard here, it's never going to change. Or you have a brush pen, which is a bit more sensitive to like pressure than the fountain pen. So if I press really hard and not hard at all, or like really lightly, it does that. But even then you have more choices. So for brush pen, you have a pressure sensitivity toggler here, slider, sorry. You have the ball pen, there's nothing else to talk about. And then the fountain pen, you also have tip sharpness and pressure sensitivity again. So you can really customize this to your personal needs and try to like really replicate whatever pen you use in real life. And then for colors, you have like three different colors at the top here that are like your main colors that you use. And then you can like either have presets here, or use just like custom colors like that, or you can go to like this color wheel, and then let's say if you love this color, you can add it to your presets, so then it just adds it there, and then you can just use that. As well for the thickness of the pen, you remember how Notability you only had specific options? Here you can really choose between like 0.1 to 2, so 2 is like this thick, and then 0.1 is this. So you can really choose, and it goes by like 0.05, sorry, increments. So in that aspect, I think that GoodNotes is better. You have more customizable options for your pens. You have more choices of, I just prefer the way the colors work, that you can have the colors at the top, and the thickness as well is a lot better. You can really choose and really tailor it much better to what you prefer and what you like. Notability has become a lot better, I'm not gonna lie, with the whole fact that you can choose your own colors now. But again, the thickness thing is really annoying me, that you can't fully decide what thickness you want to be at, and the pen options are not as intricate. Moving on to the eraser. So how does the eraser work in Notability? You have either a whole eraser, so that erases like that. So it like really like makes it look white and then it erases. So that's how it does it. Or you have a partial eraser, so you just see the cursor and then you can just, erase really as you please like that. And then again, for the thickness choices of the eraser, you just have, just like the pen, just different options like that. Whereas for GoodNotes, the eraser here, you have the choice to erase an entire stroke. So let's say I just wanted to erase this, I can erase the entire stroke, or I can erase highlighter only. So let's say I highlighted this and I realized that actually I wanted this to be written, like highlighted in pink. I can just erase the highlighter only, okay? Or I can have it erase not the whole stroke, so like really precisely erase just the H of the hello, for example. And then again, for the thickness options, you can choose your thicknesses, so from 1 to 7.7 millimeters. So again, that's a lot of customizable options. And so in that opinion, again, I'm going to choose GoodNotes because you can just customize things a bit more than in Notability. Moving on, we are now going to be talking about the highlighter. So how does the highlighter work? So let's go back to Notability. Highlighters are here. It works very similarly to the pen situation, so I'm not going to go through that again. But again, the thicknesses are predefined and you can highlight in the sort of same way as you can like write. So you can have the sort of ball pen highlighting situation, which is just one long stroke, or you can have it like if you press hard, if you press less hard sort of situation. And then again, the colors are either predefined here and here, or you can choose your own. So I could like add this one color, for example, this very weird color. I'm not a fan of it. In GoodNotes, the highlighter works that you can either draw a straight line. So I very much love being able to highlight in a straight line. Remember that at school I sometimes would highlight with my ruler underneath. So having this option of just, oh, this is way too small, of just highlighting like this, and then it would just make it a straight line automatically is really good for me. But you can take that, you can toggle that off and then just highlight like that, and then it's not really going to make it straight. Also in GoodNotes, when you highlight, the highlighter immediately goes behind the text. I don't know if you see it, but like here it's still above the hello. The moment I raise my Apple Pen, the hello goes above, so it keeps the text at the forefront of things and put the highlighter behind. Again, the color situation works very similarly to the pen, so you have presets, but you can also customize like that and then add it to your presets here. And you can have three like colors, the three last colors you've used are here, and the thickness options as well. Let me just check in Notability if the highlighter goes behind the text. Yeah, it seems like it goes behind the text. Okay, it always is behind the text in Notability, so that is also the same thing. So again, I think in highlighter options, GoodNotes will come first for me, just because they have the possibility of having it in a straight line that Notability doesn't. But if that's something you don't really care about, Notability and GoodNotes are equal on that aspect. Okay, so now let's move on to what are the other tools that are available with these apps. So we've talked about the pen, we've talked about the highlighter and the eraser. So let's talk now about the lasso. The lasso is this thing that you can just use to move around text as you please. You can then style it, so you can change the color of the whole thing. Let me just do that again. Oops. Okay. Or you can duplicate it, cut it, copy, convert it. So you can convert it to text, but that's a premium aspect of Notability. You can group it, you can save it, or you can delete it. And then you can just move it around. In GoodNotes, we have exactly the same thing. So you can use the lasso thing here. So let me just lasso, hello, my name is O. And again, you can cut, you can resize, you can resize it like that. You can color, you can take a screenshot, you can add an element, so you can add a sticky notes to it. You can convert it to text, so that is actually doing it automatically. In GoodNotes, that's not a paid for function. Let me just do that again. What else do you have? You can take a screenshot, all of that. So it seems to have a bit more options. If you do have Notability that where you subscribe to it, you can convert it to text. But if you don't have that, you can't. You can also resize it. Let me check if Notability can be resized as well. Doesn't see. Oh yeah, you can resize it by like using 2 fingers going in and out. So you definitely can resize it. It's a bit less intuitive, but once you get it, it's quite easy. Okay, so you can do that. So the lasso is very, very similar. I would say GoodNotes and Notability are equal if you have the subscribe function for Notability. If you don't, GoodNotes, it's better. Another function that they have is the text function. So you can just write something, let's say hello, and then you can make it bold, you can make it italic, underline, you can change the fonts, stuff like that. In GoodNotes, you also have the text function, which you can also change the font. You can also change the things, do like kind of a computer. Honestly, I think that both of these are very similar. And then once you've figured out writing, font, and color that you like, you can put it as a favorite at the top. So I think in that aspect, Notability and GoodNotes are equal. What's another tool that they both have? They both have this one, which means like you're not writing anymore, but you can move around your cursor, like your page. GoodNotes has the same. It's actually at the top here, so no writing, and then you can move around. If you click again, it becomes full screen, which I quite like, which Notability doesn't have. So in that aspect, I prefer GoodNotes for that. What else? They also has this little laser thing. So in Notability, you can just do the laser if you're ever wanting to like explain something, you can do the laser like that. It has different colors. So you can have blue, and then you can have the whole laser tail, so which is like that, and then it moves away. GoodNotes has the same. Let me go back. Well, a bit different. So you can either have it in red, like this little thing, or you can have it like that holds as well. And the fact that Notability has different colors, and again, that's a new function of Notability. They did not have this like a month ago. Makes Notability a bit more powerful in that aspect. So Notability wins on that section. What else do they have? Notability has a functionality that GoodNotes doesn't have. It has the microphone at the top here. So you can be like in a lecture and record what the lecturer is saying while you make notes, and then it's associating it to the notes. So if you don't have time, you can just go back to the recording. That makes Notability a bit more powerful in that sense than GoodNotes. GoodNotes doesn't have that. Something else, the going back button. In Notability, you actively have to click the going back button to go back. Whereas in GoodNotes, you can just double click with 2 fingers. You just double click and then it goes back. It undoes stuff. And if you triple click, it redoes things. So in that aspect, I much prefer the going back button of GoodNotes because you can actually just use your fingers, tap, and GoodNotes has going back, and like they have the 2 arrows like going back and then going forward, whereas Notability only has going back. I think we've covered all of the other tools of Notability and GoodNotes that you can actually see in the toolbox. The other thing that Notability has that GoodNotes doesn't is this whole like favorites tab here, where if the pens that you use the most often, you can just click on the add to favorite at the bottom here, and then it'll be added to the side. If you click on the cross, you can just click on the favorites and it'll be there. GoodNotes doesn't really have that. It has those sort of 3 main colors you use and 3 main thicknesses. It's kind of a favorites thing. And the final tool is this sort of zoom thing that I often use when I'm writing in GoodNotes. So you have that, and then you can just move away. So that's here you see where you are, and Notability has the same one on the lower right hand side. Just click there and it's literally the same thing. But I quite like that you have the functionalities here, so you don't have to actually go to the top. GoodNotes doesn't do that. Okay, now let's move on to talking about how can you like add images and stuff like that to Notability, and what else can you add to Notability or GoodNote notes. So in Notability, you can add photos, you can add photos that you've just taken from your camera, a document scan. So you can like just scan a document right now and then add it there. So let's say I do that, and then I just, do the whole scanning situation very, very poorly, keep scan, and that'll add it to my as a PDF. That'll add it to my to my Notability here, let's say. Okay, so that was very poorly done, but that's something you can do. You can add a GIF or a GIF. You can add a web clip. So let's say I go to Safari. Okay, so you can add a web clip like that, and you click save. You can add stickies, so that's either lines, dots, or typing. So you can just like add like post-it notes if you want them to be able to write on it and like be like, oh, I need to remember whatever. You can do that. On GoodNotes, what you can add is you can also do sticky notes, so like that. Or if you go to that thing, you can click on it again, and then you have a lot of options of sticky notes, all of these ones, or you can import some of your own, or you can add it from your photos. You have many different mind map shapes if you want to do a mind map, back to school stickers, stamps, everyday stickers, and then just anything. You can just create another collection. So if that's something you're interested in, that's actually really, really cool. So in that aspect, I think that the sticky note function is much, much, much more powerful in GoodNotes than in Notability. Photos are honestly works very similarly to Notability. You can either click on your most recent photos at the top, or you can just do that and then have it from your photos or your albums, or insert from somewhere, or you can take one of their photos yourself. So let's say I do the same photo, I can just use that photo and have it imported there. If I click on a photo, I can crop it as well. And let me just check if I add a photo to Notability. I can also, crop it. One thing that apparently you can do as well here is you can round the corners. I'm literally just showing right now all of the different intricate details and differences between the two of them. One other thing that GoodNotes has that Notability doesn't is you have a flashcard option. So then you have a flashcard here, you can add it. Is that the flashcard? And then I put the question, what does DNA stand for? And then you would have the answer here. And then if you click on the three dots, you have study flashcards. And then it would be like, what does DNA stand for? And then you click, and then you can do again, good or easy. It's kind of like a Anki situation within GoodNotes. That's an experimental feature that Notability doesn't have. So I think that's all for the sort of like all the different tools within GoodNotes and Notability and how they're different. Now let's just maybe move on to how pages are organized within Notability and GoodNotes within a same note. So in Notability, you have to click on the 2 pages to the side, and then you can move on between the 3 different pages. You can change them around, I think, and like drag them along. If you click on it, you can copy the background, you can rotate it, add a page, delete it, stuff like that. So that's how it works. And you can click on that little aspect here to make it smaller or bigger, and like that, this looks a lot more like what you're gonna see in GoodNotes just after. So you just look at it this way, and then you can select pages and either delete all of them or duplicate them, things like that. In GoodNotes, what you do is you click on the 4 little squares at the top, and then you have all the different pages. So let's say I added 2 other pages here. I would be able to then move them around like that. If I had favorited one page, you could only see the favorited here. What else would you have? If you click here, you can like add an image, you can scan documents. If you select pages, you can then export them, you can mark them as seen, you can put them to the bin, stuff like that. You can't export just one page like that from what I'm seeing in Notability. So that's how it works in Notability and GoodNotes. Very, very similar in my opinion, so I don't think any one of them wins here. Very similar, just from the part that maybe you can export singular pages in GoodNotes and it doesn't seem like it's as straightforward here. So maybe GoodNotes wins on that front, but if not, they're very, very similar. Now let's move on to the different templates that you have within the app itself, and if you can, import your own templates. So in Notability, templates are like this. So you have plain, ruled grid, or dotted paper. If you click on the three dots, you then increase this aligning space or decrease it as you will, so it's quite customizable. Then if you click on it, you can also have a very big choice of colors, which is quite good. And you can then you can add paper styles, and you can also add colors, so that's quite good. Very, very customizable on that front. Then you have some papers that they made themselves, so hexagonal grids are really, really good for like if you do chemistry, for molecules, Cornell note system, you know, engineering grid, stuff like that. They have a creative one, so for recipes and just planning, if you're doing soccer, football games, finances, stuff like that. I've tried to look online to figure out if you can import your own Notability templates like that you've made. Seems like you can't necessarily. It doesn't seem very straightforward, so I'm not too sure if you can do that. And then as well, you can change like the different sizing if you want A3, A4, a tabloid, you know, you can just change the different sizes as you please. In GoodNotes, the templates here are very, very customizable again. Maybe not as much with like the increasing in size of the dotted paper or not, but so you have square paper, you have rule narrow, you have rule wide. So again, just only two options, rule wide and rule narrow. So not as customizable as Notability. So Notability wins on the customizable in-app templates, because again, GoodNotes only has 3 different color options. Notability has a lot more, so that's quite nice. They have also writing paper, so they have Cornell, they have legal, they have single column mix, 3 column, 2 column, 2 column write, stuff like that. They have planning as well. So to-do list, weekly planners, so they have a lot more planners, and music, guitar and stuff like that, music paper. There are a lot of different sizes though, so colors, you only have white, dark and yellow. Just gonna put it on all, and then again, all the different sizes. You have landscape and portrait, just like Notability. However, in GoodNotes, you can add your own templates. You can just click on edit here, and then you can click on import. So you can import from files or from photos. So just for the fact that you can, if you want to be able to import, maybe use GoodNotes. If you don't want, and that doesn't matter, and you just want to be really, really customizable in features, Notability will be better. Let's talk about maybe all of the other functionalities that you can have with these apps. I feel we've covered a few of them. Some of them are not as clear. How do you sync notes in each of them? So in GoodNotes, the way you sync is you go here, you go to settings, and then you can either back it up on your own, like now, do a whole backup and then save it somewhere else. And then you can also do automatic backups here. So I decided to put it in OneDrive, and they're saved as GoodNotes and PDFs. And if you want to see if it's backing up, it'll be here. So the auto backup was successfully completed. In Notability, let me just close that. To automatically back up, that's backing up here. Auto backup, I also decided to do it in OneDrive, so you can also do that. You can just decide where you want it to be saved. I'm not very sure if you can fully just back up one whole thing, and the way, just like as in GoodNotes, you can just do a backup of the whole library in one go. How do you then export to notes? So let's say I'm back on this note. The way I would export it is I either go back to here, like the main searching thing, and I select it, this note, and then I export it, so either as a PDF, an image, whatever, and then I export it to whatever I decide to export it, like that. Or as I showed you before, you can also export it this way. So if I just wanted to export this page, I could just export this page, do the same thing. In Notability, the way I would export it is I would long click on the note so it's selected, and then share that note, and then share to whatever Google Drive, or as PDF, share a note, and then that would literally do the same thing as GoodNotes. So that would be how I do it. I don't know if you can share singular pages with Notability. I wasn't able to find it while doing this sort of tutorial thing, so I'm not very sure. I know as well that GoodNotes now, I don't know how you do that, but I don't think it's that important. You can two people can now work on the same page, like kind of like Google Drive situation. So you can like share notes. Oh yeah, shared. So you can have a shared place with shared documents where everybody can like edit those documents. So that's a good thing. Don't know if Notability has that. I think we can now move on to which one I prefer. I think it's quite clear by now. I much prefer GoodNotes to make my notes. However, I bought Notability out of my own will. Before even doing this video, I bought it like a year ago, and I use Notability more for like my PDFs. So I have like textbooks in here that when I want to read, I just read through Notability because I prefer the way it's organized, and then I can just separate the textbooks from my notes. I just quite like that. So yeah, I use PDFs and stuff like that. I keep them in Notability and annotate them there, whereas for GoodNotes, I use it to actually properly make my own notes, if that makes sense. So yeah, I use both, but as a note-taking app, GoodNotes is much better in my eyes. It's the one I prefer, but I know many people that swear by Notability. So it's really like, from this video, I hope you were able to choose which one and get an idea of which one you would prefer to use. And yeah, I hope this video was useful. I tried to really go into a lot of depth, and if you did decide, please let me know down below which one you preferred and which one you decided to go for. And yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and share this video with other people that could benefit from it as well. And yeah, I'm gonna head off now. I have a lot of videos to film today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!